we're in the second round in the playoffs, which means that there's 8 teams that have been eliminated. Some of those teams are old. Some of them are young. I want to ask y'all, who has the brightest future? Who should not be down on the fact that they lost in that first round?
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Ooh, I didn't see that coming.
Why not? I think when you look at their roster, you got Maxey locked up. Embiid is there. He's an MVP. He's just won MVP. He was looking like he was going to be a clear-cut MVP before he got hurt. And then you got Tobias Harris coming off the books. You got a lot of cap space coming off the books. And you get to go out in free agency. Now you get to, look and see, have fun. You could talk to Paul George. You could maybe trade for Jimmy Butler. Maybe there's a lot of things.
Pat Riley said no. Don't even think about trading for Jimmy.
There's a lot of things that's on the table for the Philadelphia 76ers that I think they should look forward to. And you could re-sign Kelly Oubre. He was such a bright spot for y'all through this playoff run. I think Kelly Oubre could be a good guy that they could bring back. There's a lot of things out there for them that they could really reconstruct a really good roster on, Joel.
My answer has to be a team that can really grow without all of those things, because those things are so loose in. There's a situation where Paul George goes elsewhere, stays with the Clippers. Now what? I like Orlando Magic because a lot of it is within, and obviously they're going to go into free agency and can create up to $60 million in cap. But even without those things, there's a third year of Paolo. There's another year for Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner. You know what I mean? They have this young core that they can continue to build on, grow, and develop, and having that early playoff experience, and not just playoff experience, but playoff experience where you went 7 games toe-to-toe, had an 18-point lead in Game 7 on the road. You were very, very close. I think those things allow teams to really grow inside and internally. And then if you go out in free agency and you're able to snab a Klay Thompson or whatever else is out there, that only enhances it. But for them to get that experience and really, like Paolo Banchero, we should be talking about him more at a higher level. The only reason we're not is because Anthony Edwards is also doing his thing. But,
and they lost too.
And they lost.
Yeah.
But I know how good he is, and still these performances shock me when you consider how poorly the shooting is around him. The style of playing, what he does to get himself going, and how he operates, for him to not have the shooting around him and still be able to be as effective is just kind of mind-blowing for me. So I'm thoroughly impressed with him and the Magic.
Don't sign Klay Thompson, though.
Why not?
I just don't want to see him in the jersey. It was just look weird. That's all.
It would.
I mean, it's only because you've seen him in the Warrior jersey for his whole career.
It's like a 2K fantasy draft.
Yes, please stop.
Can he even wear 11? Make sure if he can't wear 11, I really don't want to see it.
All his aura.
Klay Thompson
gone.
with 17 on all of us.
Pierre was saying it perfectly, though. I got to go with the Magic, too. I thought the Cavaliers were going to get them out of there in like 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. The fact that they extended to 7 and they played so well. And this is, again, a lot of their players' first playoff series, and they played well. So I got to go with the Magic.
I'm not mad at any of those.
They were a bad performance from Franz from winning that series. Franz went 1 for 15 in that Game 7. If he makes 6 of those shots, they probably win.
Yeah, I like your answer too, Darrick. I'm going to have to agree with that. The only reason I think you was going to say, because I thought everybody was going to go Orlando Magic because they're the young team with the star and all the cap space. Mm-hmm. But this is like, I don't know, the most important offseason of the Joel Embiid era.
Yeah.
He's a 30-year-old big man that suffered from a lot of injuries, and you have an opportunity to bring somebody in to help alleviate some of that pressure, because when he was on the court in this playoff series versus the Knicks, they won by a lot. As soon as he left the floor, they were bad. And like just having a third guy, whether it be Paul George or DeMar DeRozan or Jimmy Butler or somebody else they could trade for, just alleviates so much pressure. And if that fails, if that new signee comes in and nothing changes, I ain't even gonna say what I think might happen after that.
I think I know what you would say, but I think if it doesn't work, it's because of him and his health. So I don't even know how you can have that exit route. That's my really concerning thing. Is like, you can go out and have the perfect offseason. If he's not going to be healthy and you have to go through this again and again, because that's been the only really thing that's had y'all shortcomings. That and the Kawhi doink is the real big what ifs. Mm-hmm. And if you're, like I said, you can have the perfect offseason, but if he's
what
not,
if you pay Jimmy Butler and not the other guy?
Oh man, yeah, you can really.
Tobias Harris over me?
Yeah,
that line will forever be burned into my head.
What about some moves? Y'all know we all about just making trades. That's one of my favorite things about basketball. A team that I just want to mention off the top here that I want to see make a deal.
Chicago Bulls.
We said playoff teams.
Okay, you're right.
I wish. Yes, I do need to see that. But the Pelicans.
That was number 1 on my list.
The Pelicans, they already said they're not going out for complacency, and then they are not extending Brandon Ingram.
I think the writing's on the wall right there. That he's probably going to be moved this offseason.
I hate to do this, but D Mills, I told him so.
You did.
I've been saying it all season long that this was the writing on the wall. This was going to come, and here we are. Here we are. The toughest thing for me is, like, landing spots.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is
Cleveland
tough for him.
might be the perfect landing spot. I think
For
Darius
DG?
Garland just had such an underwhelming
Woo, you cooking.
such an underwhelming playoff performance that like I think that Cleveland might be like, okay, what can we do to shake up this roster? They're gonna call New Orleans. Brandon Ingram's available. Let's bring him in. Pair him next to Donovan. Extend Donovan Mitchell.
Let me ask you this.
What about the other guy?
Who's
What
Evan
if Donovan
Mobley?
just says, I don't want you to do that?
Boom.
Can we could still drop a trade
Yeah.
to get Donovan to New Orleans. Now, can we convince Donovan to stay in New Orleans is the question. We know he want to go to New York. One of the New York, part of New York.
It is new.
It is. It's definitely
It's got
new.
the new in it.
That's why it's hard for me for the Cavs because it's like they want to make moves, they want to do certain things, but it's like, what if you do it and Donovan's like, nah. What's that one mean? When you're like,
Maybe he,
The Magic
maybe he'll
Johnson,
just
I'm not going to
yeah.
be here. You can
He
be
could
on
right,
the
always
right,
trade
just
right.
you
agree
want.
to a sign and trade so that way you don't leave with nothing.
Guess it's possible. But Brandon Ingram's going to be on the move more likely than not. It's the thing that makes it super interesting, though, is just usually if you're trading away a guy of his caliber, you're getting back draft picks and young players. The Pelicans are trying to win.
Yeah.
So what team is going to give you something to help you win right now while getting a win now player? It's just
It's
how do you make
Atlanta
that
or
happen?
Cleveland.
and he's on the last year of his deal.
Atlanta
Yeah.
and Cleveland. Yeah.
Atlanta or Cleveland are the two
One of
teams
the
that can
point
get
guards,
you
yeah.
a winning player right now.
If I'm the Magic, that's what I'm looking for. I might be monitoring what's going on with the Hawks because I think they need a point guard.
Yep.
I know Trae Young is probably the end of that ladder in terms of like what you can get. I know D'Lo's going to be a free agent too, but I think they really need a point guard in terms to set. Well, just make it easier for Paolo and Franz. I thought that they were taking on a lot of responsibility in the playoffs, especially against the overcrowded defenses.
I think the most reasonable thing we can look at when we talk about Brandon Ingram, DeJounte Murray. I just think that Trae Young is a little too rich. I saw the things that he said. You're not getting Trae Young for Brandon Ingram. You can probably get DeJounte Murray for Brandon Ingram. And I think if you're the Pelicans, you have to look into that and think about that idea.
Yeah, DeJounte's going to be a very hot name when it comes to this offseason, man. A lot of teams want point guard play, and he's shown when he was a lead point guard on the team that he was pretty good.
And I think the defensive production will go up on a team like New Orleans. It's their culture. It's what they do. He wouldn't be your number one primary guy. And I think that would help bring it out of him if he's guarding a second, third best player versus the number one and we're expecting to get that San Antonio defense we saw from him.